Hi, everybody. Welcome to two and a half Irish lasses, I should say. I'm only partially Irish, but I do have a little bit in there, and I thought, okay, I got to go with it. And that wasn't the original Irish jig that I had found to play. I found another one that I really liked, and I couldn't get the damn thing to download to put it to the clip. I don't know what I did wrong, but my son's gonna
Don't
have to
ask
go in and fix
me.
it. Well, thank you very much. Please welcome my guest, Helen, this way from Irish Granny Tarot, and Jackie from Jackie's Crystal Moon, all the
Hi.
way from Ireland. So it was a little bit of finagling this week trying to get the time zones right because I screwed it up, of course. Um, but I'm looking forward to this. This ought to be fun.
Well, Sherry, you know what I thought about once you got it settled? It's kind of like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right?
Yeah,
Time, right?
exactly. And considering that I slept till after 10 o'clock this morning, which is really rare, um, my whole day is now off. I'm just
Yeah.
now starting to get hungry for breakfast. and which I have something in the fridge. I just have to go heat it up, but I'll eat that later. And anyway, so thank you everyone for coming. We've got Bora Bora is here, and there's this girl named Jackie here, and there's Claudia is here, and Sherry, and Teresa, and Kathy G, and Bookie Witch. And the
I'm glad it
dogs,
sounds like my house.
the dogs wanted to make sure that I told them they're here. Pain, stop. That's the dorky. He's the old man that just barks and
Yeah.
barks and barks and barks and barks. He doesn't have an off
That was
button.
one.
It's like the minute he starts, he just goes into repeat.
Yeah, but that's what they're good for. No one's going to sneak into your house and take you by surprise, right?
He can't
True.
even sneak into the house without them barking. Because that
Aw.
was my son coming back inside from being out on the patio. Open the door, and the minute they hear the door open,
They
they
bark
both
at
start
you.
barking.
At least you
Sherry
don't
says
have
her
a
dog
parrot.
is answering him.
Pardon?
Say
Sherry
again?
says her dog is answering him.
At least you don't
Oh,
have a parrot asking you what you're
I've had
doing.
that happen too when I'm listening to somebody and they have a dog barking or something on the YouTube,
Yes.
and next thing I know, both of my dogs are just going to town. Like they
Aw.
can hear each other. And because the big dog is a big deep bark, and he's a big chicken. He's a lab mix, rescue dog, and he sounds ferocious, but then he runs to the back bedroom and hides under the bed,
Oh,
and
jeez.
so he doesn't really do a lot of good except sound mean. And then the little one would probably take your leg off if he could get his mouth around it. So
Oh, good. Well, can I recommend a YouTube channel? I recommend it on my channel, and it's what I consider just a nice escape from reality. It's very soothing. You would never think. Extremely soothing. It's called The Girl with the Dogs, and she has two separate channels. One of them is longer than the other, and
uh,
in both channels, she's a dog groomer from Canada, and she's very witty and she's really well informed. And all you do, she wears one of those cameras, she grooms dogs. She does dogs for free that nobody else will groom because of their behavior or their
Oh.
size or their
Huh.
such bad shape. But she talks, she tells you about the history of the breed, and she talks about why she's doing what she's doing, and she's really funny. And it's actually interesting. You wouldn't believe it. I'm not insane about dogs. I have dogs, but come on,
yeah.
it's really a nice stress relief. But the other day I was watching it. Her most recent video, as of yesterday, was a German Shepherd that has high anxiety, and this German Shepherd cried the whole time she groomed it. And my dog, my dog sat looking at this German Shepherd and kept looking at me like, is it okay? Wow.
Oh,
It was
I
hilarious.
love it.
Look, go help it, it's flying.
That's so cute.
So
I
funny.
don't pay much attention to the YouTube and stuff, but my cat, I can put on like one of those cat videos where it's
Yeah.
just like birds and butterflies and whatnot chirping and bouncing around, and she
Yeah.
will sit glued to the screen and just
Like the rest of us.
yeah. She cracks me up. And we've got some more people that came in. Mort in the Void and Peacock Rainbow. And Jeffrey's here. Tarot Ask Backwards. And Lottie. And thank y'all for coming this morning. No political questions today. We're just going to do general once we get to questions. Right now, we're going to chit chat and then we'll go from there. Helen just started a new book because I just saved.
Oh, it's a secret. I like to surprise everybody.
It's on the thing. You downloaded it. Part 1 came out this morning.
Oh, that book. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the one we just talked about.
Oh, no. That's not up yet, so I'm not talking about that one.
My big thrill of the week is keeping that secret.
Well, I'm going to be making a visit to Audible after the show to go get it myself. So,
yeah, Linda Moulton Howe, her book. I'm on volume 2 of Glimpses of Other Realities.
Yeah, that sounds
and even though it was written in 98, so it doesn't have all the new photographs and military reports and whistleblowers and stuff, it's still really good. She talks about the connectivity between UFO ET experiences, claimed abductions. See, there's ETs around. Animal mutilations, crop circles, just all these really it's called High Strangeness is the subtitle of the book. Really good.
very cool. I've always been interested in all that kind of stuff. I know I remember seeing a movie once and it had something to do with cattle mutilations were thrown in it. And it was actually the government that was coming after people, and so they were doing it. It wasn't UFOs, but they were making it look like it was UFOs. And this was the movie, right? But in one part of the movie, this guy that was like investigating it and finding out that it was really the government doing it, he got up to brush his teeth one morning, and so he like puts toothpaste on and starts brushing his teeth, and next thing you know, his blood's coming out. His teeth start falling out. I'm like, what on earth? And evidently somebody had stuck in his house and like poisoned the toothbrush.
Jesus.
Not the toothpaste, but they put something on the toothbrush. And so when he went to brush his teeth, it did all this stuff. And it was like, oh my God.
Well, Linda Moulton Howe is an investigative journalist, and her area of expertise is science. And so she has a lot of connections in the world of mainstream science. Yeah. She's made a lot of other connections. And the interesting thing about her books is how heavily documented they are. And the appendix in the back is almost as big as the entire book. And sure, anything can be faked, sure. I'm not
especially nowadays.
Yeah, but she names, dates, places, articles from newspapers. That's a little harder to fake, because you can go back into the
and
archives
look at the original,
find them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the truth is that the cover story is the military does it. The cover story is it's exaggerated. It's an occult thing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The reality is what you hear about is the tip of the iceberg, and the number of experiences and episodes, like 500, and this is just an example, trigger warning, 500 cats in one community are suddenly found with only half their body found, no blood. And laser-like surgical
precision in cutting and stuff.
just
I've read stuff
bizarre.
on it over the years. I've always been intrigued with that kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
it's just, it makes you wonder. And then what was it? I was watching something the other day, and the person that had been doing the reporting was talking about, yes, of course, governments around the world know that there are ETs here and whatnot. They've had a seat at the table for
Yeah.
decades,
Yeah.
where they've worked
Yeah.
with different governments, and
Yeah.
when a government misbehaves, they will pull all their people out and take their technology with them. And I'm like, well, that's one way to do it, I guess. But
Yeah.
I wish they would just come clean and be open about it and let everybody deal with it. I think they're afraid of the religious people because
Well, I
they're
was
going to
talking
freak
about
out.
it the other day, and I think in the context of a different book, and I couldn't remember the name of the really respected, global respected politician who talks about, well, he just died, but talks about this a lot. Paul Hellyer. He was the Minister of Defense. That's like the Secretary of Defense
Right.
in Canada. And he did it for 3 different Canadian prime ministers. So he was on the public scene for a very long time. He interacted in sort of international things, I don't know, like UN and all sorts of international diplomacy, very well respected. He said it. He's the one who said, I sat with the Canadian government and the American government across the table from representatives of alien races that are interacting with Earth and governments. And this man, clear-headed, intelligent, respected, huge reputation to lose,
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's what I mean. I've personally never seen a UFO. Well, I've seen a UFO like in the sky, but just because I didn't know what it was, so that makes it a UFO for me. But I've never met any ETs that I'm aware of. I've known a few people over the years that it wouldn't surprise me if they were ETs.
Present company excluded, right?
Right, exactly. Present company excluded, but there are a few I wonder about.
How about you, Jackie?
I haven't seen anything, not that I know of, or not that I can remember. But I mean, I wouldn't say I don't believe in it.
You don't believe in it?
No, I wouldn't say I don't believe in it. Absolutely,
okay.
I think anything is possible.
Yeah, just there's a lag in the sound, so if it seems
Oh,
like
okay.
we're talking over each other, it's because we're not hearing it.
Right.
And yeah. I'm really nearsighted, and one night, 25 years ago, my husband was trying to get me to see satellites. I'd never really seen a satellite because I need a telescope to see a satellite. So he was holding my head and he was going, look, follow that. See that? That's not a star. That. And sure enough, eventually it became obvious that periodically the same amount of time would pass and another one would go by. They follow the same trajectory, they go at the same speed.
Yeah.
And then both of us at the same time, we were watching one. It stopped. Satellites don't stop. It stopped. It did a number of severe angle turns in different directions. And then in a flash of light, it went flamed out into the universe.
Cool.
And oh my God. Yeah, so who knows what that was?
That wasn't a satellite.
That was not a satellite. It wasn't an airplane. It wasn't a meteor. It wasn't our
No,
imagination. He's very sane,
They don't stop in mid-flight and just come to a stop in the sky.
No, that's against the Newtonian laws of physics.
Yeah, it's so they start doing that crazy stuff, and it's like, okay, that's
I'm going back in the
house. I know I saw years ago, I saw a video that somebody managed to do a screen grab of before NASA took it down. One of their satellites outside of our atmosphere, and it was just like regular general, just looking what's there, this satellite, and you could see the cloud cover from the planet below.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden you see this little black ship go pew, comes up
Yeah.
through the clouds. It kind of hangs around for a few
Yeah.
minutes, and then it focuses in and sees the satellite. It goes zip, and right
Whoop.
back disappeared. It was like, okay, it wasn't expecting to be seen, but everybody in the UFO community were flipping out about it. Oh my God,
Yeah.
NASA's got videos of this. And
Yeah.
it was like a day or two later they pulled the video, but enough people had done a
Had seen
screenshot.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Well, Edgar Mitchell, the astronaut, he talked at great length when he was in the 80s, when he got old, right before he died. He decided he had nothing to lose. And he talked at length about seeing, UAPs.
every astronaut I think that I've listened to, especially when they getting towards the end of their life, we'll talk about, oh yeah, there's they buzz us and do this and do that, and it's like, these guys are up there. They're trained for this. They should know what they're looking at.
Oh yes.
And so hi Fatima, we've had a few more people drop in, and Connie and Sylvia is here, and who was it? Somebody else popped in that I saw that I missed earlier. Oh well, when I see him again, I'll say your name. But thank you all for coming. We're just gonna hang out and talk. Something I think all three of us are good at doing. So
Irish blood.
Did you used to get in trouble in school? When I was in kindergarten, I used to get in trouble, 5 years old, they'd tell my parents, oh, she's a great student if she'd ever shut up.
yeah,
I couldn't understand, if you're with people that you enjoy, why would you not talk to them?
I was 17 years old before I started talking in school. 17 years old.
What?
Or I spoke to my best friends. I always spoke to my best friends, but just people in general. Like, there was a lot of annoying boys in the class who were always acting the clown, and I just couldn't stand them. And then one day, when we were out on our break in the yard, a couple of rugby lads started fighting, and one of them got thrown at me, and I got slammed up against a door, and I turned around and I started kicking and punching and fucking and blinding. I never shut up after that.
I will never forget. I was like 4th or 5th grade. I don't remember. But my desk was like at the end of a row right next to the windows. And I don't know what caught my attention that made me turn my head and look out the window. But when I turned and looked, I noticed a line of ants coming from the baseboard, going up the wall, up and over the thing, and then out the window. And it just was fascinating to me that this line of ants they didn't have anything with them. They weren't spreading anywhere. They were just coming from the baseboard and going up and out the window. And I raised my hand and said something to the teacher about there's ants in the window. And her response was, well, if you were paying attention in class, you would have.
Oh, snap.
Well, excuse the hell out of me. But
oh, I've got a better story. This is going to gross everybody out. I was in the 2nd grade, and we used to have to stand beside our chairs, Catholic school, stand beside our chairs in the morning and pray and do the Pledge of Allegiance and all that stuff. I was friendly with the little girl who sat, next to me in the next row, right directly across from my seat. And we'd look at each other during this rigmarole, tended to just sort of interact silently. And so this particular morning, I looked at her and she looked at me and she went and she puked all over my desk. So
oh my God.
Oh, gross.
Just about the time the prayer and everything ended. So now we're supposed to sit down. Well, I wasn't sitting in that. So I go after the nun, Sister Mary Claire. So I'm chasing Sister Mary Claire around the room while she's passing out papers. Helen, go sit down. Helen, go sit down. But sister, I can't. So finally, she lost her patience with me and focused enough and I could tell her what happened. But oh my God, I'm still horrified by that. I was traumatized.
I actually had a classmate do that to me when I was in, I don't know, 3rd, 4th grade. And we didn't have individual desks. It was like a long table with
Oh,
little under drawers, like a under the desk top drawer,
yeah.
spaced every so many feet with a chair, and that's where you sat. And there was a boy that sat right next to me, and he was all right. He didn't really bother me that much. But there was somebody there taking pictures. And so, everybody would sit at their desk and sit up and smile and blah, blah, blah. And this photographer is walking around class taking pictures. And he got around to where we were. Naturally, we were on the front row. And he starts taking pictures. And he looks at he said something about, well, y'all look at each other. And so I kind of, turned around and looked at the boy, and the boy looked at me and went, bleh. He just all over my desk, all over me. It was like the whole right side of me was covered in puke.
Oh God.
I
did nursing for years, and I can handle anything. I cannot handle vomit.
Gross.
That's the one thing. I was in the medical field for over 30 years. People could pee on me, bleed on me.
Yeah,
And if they threw up, that's when I would lose it. No, can't do it.
I think you know what it is, Sherry? We like our food too much. I just can't see it coming back.
I could understand that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be wasting my food either.
It's so horrible.
Oh my goodness. Well, we've got a few questions here if y'all want to dive in. They're all personal questions. So let's see. Claudia is first up. I love everybody's following the theme of either green hearts or shamrocks.
Yeah.
That's great. She wants to know, what does her December look like?
Cole. So what are we doing? Pulling one each?
Well, I hope it looks better than ours does, because we're going to freeze to death.
Tell me about it. Claudia, you're the first person that I get to use these cards with. So I can't even shuffle them because they're so stiff.
Oh, God.
Well, I bent that one.
What does her December look like?
All right.
Ooh. Ah. Sorry.
Well, if you're ready, you can go. If you need another minute or two, that's cool.
Okie dokes. For Cat Mama, I have the Sun card and Death. So Death, as we know, is about big change. Obviously, both major arcana cards. So big change is coming in for you in December. But it's all good. It's all change that will lead to bright, positive future and happiness and sunshine and all that lovely stuff. So get excited because it's looking really good.
Okay, I got the Page of Pentacles reversed. Stop procrastinating because the change is due. And I'm not sure if your procrastination has had to do with material, financial, job, something like that, or some kind of relationship. But you need to take the next step. You need to act, and you need to be Queen of Wands. You need to be confident in your own ability to intuit what the right decision is to make, and don't be afraid of change. Isn't that interesting, Jackie?
Love it.
Very much so. Thank you for the donation, Connie, and happy birthday. She just had a birthday this week.
Well, happy birthday,
Okay.
Connie.
Nice.
I had the Ace of Cups.
Ooh.
So I'm going to have to take my background off here because you can't see the cards. So y'all get to look at my mess behind me. So I pulled the Ace of Cups, and so new things coming, new proposals, new ideas, something new is coming into your life. Followed by the Four of Pentacles, which means if you're not careful, you can take that newness and change it into something more on a greedy level of I want more, I want more. So watch yourself on that. Followed by the Queen of Pentacles, which is being resourceful. You're very good at being resourceful, figuring out what you're going to do. So I'm saying, yeah, you gotta. This is a new Christmas deck. I got it. And
Hold it up a little closer, Sherry. Oh, that's really cute.
and there are all of these little like cartoon characters
Yeah.
in Christmas time. And I saw it. I was like, oh, that's so cute.
Cute.
But yeah, I think December is going to be good for you. Just a matter of not getting greedy with it.
And don't be afraid of the change. Don't stop procrastinating because it's time to do whatever it is. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. Next up, we got Peacock Rainbow.
Oh.
Can I just say
Good.
this question is all about trusting. Like I know you asked this on another channel a few days ago. It's all about trusting. Like when you put something out to the universe, you have to trust. Do you know?
This is a great question.
Absolutely.
Love this question. Like I often say, I have a gut what the reason is, but let's see if the cards agree.
Okay, well, I pulled an oracle for you from Divine Dog. And it says significance. You be you. Don't focus on faith outside of yourself. Faith starts within yourself. Go with what you believe, and then you be you. And a lot of times we can make the mistake of when we're trying to manifest something, we undo what we're trying to manifest because we'll say, I want this, or thank you for that. And then in the next breath, we'll say the opposite. Well, I'll never get it. Well, yeah, if you say that, you're right. You'll never get it. So be mindful of how you phrase things, and then don't speak against what you've just asked for.
Yeah.
That would be my advice for you.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Will I go?
Yeah.
So I have the Five of Swords, and then what is it? Knight of. I only got this deck recently. Knight of Wands. That Five of Swords most certainly shows how you are feeling currently about being let down in the past, because this person, where is she? I'm always going to the wrong side. This person was let down by these people who are in the background, walking away. So this is like you've been upset with the universe for, like she said in the comments there, it's been decades, ladies, despite hard work and faith. So, and again, like Sherry said, you need to get out of this mindset now of thinking it didn't work in the past. And you need to be like this Knight of Wands instead, and being full of hope and joy and positivity going forward when you put something out to the universe again. You have to stop thinking about things not working in the past and just drive on with full of positivity, you know?
So you know what I said about, let's see if the cards agree.
Yeah.
I think these cards, of course I'm looking through my personal lens, right? But I think these
Yeah.
cards absolutely validate the first thought that came into my head, which was the Hermetic principles. So let me talk about that. You're looking for change. You're looking to try to manifest something, okay? So you start with a thought. You start with an idea, the Page of Cups. And this is a thought and a feeling in your heart. So you want that to happen in real life. Now, what a lot of people will do is they'll make a board and they'll put, I want to go to Tahiti. So they'll do a board with postcards of Tahiti, and I forget what that's called, and they think if they concentrate on that, then that's going to happen. And the reality is, you start out with this kernel of what it is you want to manifest, what it is that you want your dream to be. And you stay steadfast to that. You keep focus on that thought. Thought has the power to create, but it requires more than the thought. It requires action. The Knight of Wands, which is all about action. So you want something in your life. Let's say you want this fabulous job. So you sit and think, oh, hire me, please hire me. I really want the job. Well, you can do that till the cows come home. What you need to do is incrementally hold that thought, be positive about it, but then you go out and you take small steps. You get the education or the experience or the volunteer work. You make the connections. And eventually, one of two things happen. Either you get what you're trying to manifest, or the manifestation itself is not the lesson for you in this lifetime. And we have to come to peace in our hearts that I guess what will be, will be. You do everything that you can do. And if it doesn't happen after you've had the thought and you've had the intention in your heart and you've done all the necessary action and it doesn't happen, there's a lesson in that. So I hope that helps.
No, that makes absolute sense. I know she says she's always been focused on the same dreams despite hard work, none of them manifested.
It's really hard,
It is hard. And a lot of times we will undo what it is we're trying to do because we'll sit and say, I want this new car, I want this new car, I want this new car. And then 10 minutes later, we're saying to someone, I'll never get a new car. Well, you just undid all the work you were doing.
Yeah, and even if you don't, even if you maintain that intention and you maintain the effort and you keep the thought in your mind, in your heart, and in your actions, and it doesn't happen, there's a purpose. So we're the challenges in our lives have a purpose, and they're not always what we think on a conscious level is what we want or what would be best for us, but there's a subconscious spiritual reason for the things that happen to us. And my advice when it comes to myself, I have to remind myself of this constantly, is that there's a lesson here. This challenge is a lesson. And so what is the lesson? What am I learning from the frustration and the disappointment? And I don't know, that's not very helpful. I guess that's kind of hard to hear, but it's what I tell myself,
And it's hard. I mean, I understand. I mean, we've all been there where there's one or two things that we've always wanted to have for ourselves that we work hard to try to get. And it's just always seems to be out of reach, or it's just never there.
Constantly. Yeah.
And the only conclusion that I've ever come to is like, well, then I guess it just isn't meant for me in this lifetime or at this time, because there have been things that I desperately wanted 30, 40 years ago that when I finally gave up asking for it, it shows up,
Yeah.
Not always.
Sometimes the struggle itself is the whole point.
Yeah.
That the fact that you're always sort of reaching out for the dream you can't quite get to, there's a reason for that, and it may very well be the actual challenge of the not getting that's the real lesson. And I hate that for all of us. It's so hard.
Well, yeah, because she follows up with a very normal sentiment. Then what's the point? It's
Well, that's
the
why you're
point.
here. That's why we're
Yeah,
here. Yeah,
that's why we're here. I
that's
mean,
right.
the point is you still keep trying. You still keep
Yeah.
working at it.
And you don't give
Because
in to that.
as you work through it and keep trying, there are other things that you're learning in the process that's necessary. And who's to say that you might wake up tomorrow morning and exactly what you've been wanting is there?
Yeah.
I mean,
It's the Buddhist concept of surrender. Que sera, sera, to go day by day, being a good person, keeping focus on your goals, and understanding that we're not in charge.
Yeah.
That's hard,
Because
I know there was a mistake made. There was a terrible mistake made when I was born. I was supposed to be born into a wealthy family.
Yeah,
and I've
me
been
too.
trying to figure out what went wrong my entire life. And it's never gonna, I'm always gonna be disappointed about that. So, I hear you.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've always wanted to be tall and thin. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I can starve myself to be thin, but I'll never be tall. 5 feet is my limit,
Oh, that's what I am.
And
well, how tall?
I'm 5
I'm
feet.
about 5'3" as well.
Ah, you guys, I'm a towering Irish woman. I'm 5'2".
And I could be thin and, if I wanted to be, but I like to eat. I'm Cajun. What can I say? We eat a lot of really rich, fattening food down here, and I like to eat. And I finally got to the point where it was like, do I want to eat what I like to eat and to hell with everybody else? Or do I want to be skinny and miss out on everything? The
Skinny
food
and
won.
hungry.
Obviously, the food won. I laugh. I tell people I'm almost as wide as I am tall. So you can just roll me down the hall. Just roll
Well,
me
I console myself with the thought that I died in the famine and I'm making up for lost time.
There you go. I never thought of it like that. So I'm definitely making up for it then. So I hope that
That's hard. Yeah.
that
That's so
really
hard.
resonated with you, Peacock Rainbow. See, you're tall and thin. I would hate you immediately. No, I'm teasing. I would never hate anybody.
Well, you're not
But-
you're not alone in this,
No.
It's very common. Yeah.
Because tall, thin people, a lot of them want to be shorter or more curvy or larger boobs or, just, I mean, granted, nowadays you can pretty much pay for that stuff and doctors will attach it or take it away. But I like what
I meant she's not alone. She's not alone in the struggle for
right.
and
I like what Tommy
frustration.
says.
Yeah.
Short chicks are closer to gravity. Yeah.
Where?
Or what Kelly says. It's about the beauty of the journey, not just the destination.
Oh, that's so well put. That's so well put.
Thank you, Kelly. Exactly. And a lot of times that's the hard part, is realizing that it's not the ultimate goal of what we want, but it's the process of getting there. It's going through everything we go through to get to that point.
Well, it's the difference between my husband and me. He likes to go in the car and just take unknown roads and travel around, drive around, not caring if he gets lost or where he
My
likes the
husband was
experience.
the same way.
I want to get to the hotel.
Yeah.
So that's what it's
Get me
about.
to the bathroom. You can go look later.
That's right.
I get in the car and my bladder goes into like overdrive. Find the next place to pee, quick.
All up here.
Okay, next up we have Lottie.
Career.
I'd love to read about my career. possible, we will certainly do our best.
Can I ask a question of
Yeah,
Lottie
absolutely.
before we do this? What it will be or what direction it's going?
That's a good one. Hi, Lottie. So, Lottie, I don't know if you heard Helen. She's wanting to know, are you asking about what your career will be?
Yeah, yeah.
Or what it is now and where it's going from
Yeah,
there?
like, are you on the right, or did you choose the right career? Are you on the right path? Or how successful is the one you've chosen going to be? It's subtle difference.
She said both, really, but direction.
Okay.
She said both, really, but direction. So I guess to know if she's heading in the right direction.
I had 2 fell out already. So I have 7 of Pentacles and the Ace of Cups. So this beautiful 7 of Pentacles, she has a watering can and she's watering her sunflowers. So like this is all about kind of just taking care of, I suppose, paying more attention to your flowers in this case, watering them and pruning them, and it just might be a case of putting a little more effort in to whatever it is you really want to do, and having the patience, because Pentacles is the slowest moving suit anyway. So it's just about pruning and taking care of whatever it is you want to do and have patience, and that beautiful new beginning with the Ace of Cups will come, because aces are potential for new beginnings. So you can make it whatever it is you want it to be, once you take care of it correctly, like this 7 of Pentacles.
I want to show you something, Jackie. You want to see this?
Go on. Ah, look at that, look. Jinx.
So you've got to continue to do the hard work. You've got to put the effort into it.
That was the 7. Okay.
The 7 of Pentacles, right? To continue to put that hard work into it. And it can bring you the Queen of Pentacles reversed. It can bring you financial independence. It can be the goal of whatever your career is, the culmination of it can be material success. It absolutely can. But it's going to require willpower. This is the Chariot. Ambition, hard work. You have your work cut out for you here. And the warning, there's a caveat here. The warning is, watch out for the people you work with. Watch out for manipulating, kind of vengeful fellow workers. But if you do, you're gonna be at peace with whatever it is you're doing. So put in the work, stay the course. You have the ambition, you have the ability. Just watch out for, being stabbed in the back by people you work with. I don't know if it's a boss or a fellow worker.
Okay, and I pulled the 9 of Pentacles, which, is just talking about there's financial gain there.
Yeah.
What are you working at? You're working hard for it. But then I followed it up with the 3 of Swords. So there is some heartache if you're not careful about what your goal is. I mean, you can work to your fingers to the bone, but if you're not doing something fulfilling, then you're going to be very discouraged about it. And I ended up with the Hierophant. So we're talking about a lot of traditional type roles or conventional type things. What I'm getting out of it is, if you're happy in what you're doing, then just continue to strive to make it better. And if you're not happy in what you're doing, then maybe it's time to put out some feelers and see what else is out there. I'm not getting that what you're doing is the wrong path, but
No.
maybe where you're at is limiting to what it is.
I get the sense that this is a highly lucrative opportunity, that if you do the hard work, you're going to get a lot of reward back, but maybe you're struggling because of the actual work environment. Is it a toxic workplace? And that Hierophant is about real soul searching, you know?
Yeah. Very good.
That
Okay.
helps.
Next up, we have Sheila. Do my guides have a message for me? Don't worry, be happy.
They always do. I had an Auntie Sheila. Okay.
All right. I'm sitting here staring at the chat, and I'm not shuffling my cards. So
Shall I go?
yeah, go.
Okay.
If you're ready, go.
So I got the Seven of Swords with the King of Swords reversed, and this is kind of a warning. There might be somebody in your life that's not exactly everything that he or she appears to be. They may be engaging in maybe manipulating you or not telling you the truth, and you need to really be careful, judicious about the people you surround. You know what I'm getting? My grandmother used to always say this: you lie down with dogs, you get up with fleas. Be careful about the people you surround yourself with. That's the message from your guides. And if you do that, then you should have friends, happiness, an environment around you that is joyful and celebratory, especially for the next month. Always trust your inner voice. It's the High Priestess. Sorry, I always forget to say what the card is. The High Priestess. So be judicious about who you associate with. And if you're careful and you pick good friends, pick people that are good role models and who are kind, and listen to your gut instinct, listen to your heart. The voice of the spirit inside of you will lead you in the right path to who you choose to associate with.
Very good.
I have cards that totally tie in with that, Helen.
Do you
So
really?
the Five of Swords and the World card. So the Five of Swords, where is she? She's there, and she's had this fight with people who I'm on the wrong side altogether. They're there. Walking away from people. I always say that, like, the Five of Wands is kind of just playful kind of banter, whereas this is like serious kind of bullying kind of a card, because it's the mind, it's thoughts, it's communication. So this is a much more serious card for me when it comes to kind of fighting or anything, which ties in with what Helen said. And then the World card for me would be what's that word? Closure. Because the world is the end of the cycle. It's the last card, the major arcana. So it's like you need closure. You need to walk away from whatever this situation is that's kind of been troubling you, and just like, you don't have to forgive someone to their face, but just for your own self, just sitting by yourself and put out to the universe that you forgive those people or whoever who you've had a disagreement or whatever with, and just let it go, because you need the closure and you need to walk away and just begin afresh, and not leave it kind of drag you down for the rest of your life,
Yeah. Reevaluate who you hang out with.
Yeah. Totally ties in with Helen's.
Isn't that great?
And mine kind of wraps y'all's up in a nice, pretty bow. Just as joy,
Aww,
find your bliss.
it's a puppy.
Yeah. Yeah, this is Divine Dog is the name of the Oracle deck. And so
Oh,
it's all dogs. And there's another one called Cosmic Cat, but it's too expensive. I can't afford it right now. This was on sale, so I was like, "Oh, look, one of them's on sale." So I picked it up. It's like now I'm waiting for the other one to go on sale. He's on my Amazon wish list if anyone wants to give me a Christmas gift. So I've gotten some really nice stuff from people. It's like, who
I
would
didn't
have
know you
thought
could do
people would
that.
send you things? I mean, just they go to my Amazon wish list and they look, and next thing you know, I'll get something in the mail. It's like, wow, that's so cool.
Oh, wow.
At first, it felt awkward. It was like, why are people sending me gifts?
no, it's lovely. I think that's lovely.
Yeah, it's the same as when somebody makes a donation to your channel or
Yeah,
something. I mean,
yeah.
their way of showing appreciation, and so yeah, it's very, very much so. I just got uh, a new deck. Well, I got the cards, I guess, a couple of months ago, and then the girl emailed me a few days ago and said, I just found the guidebook to that deck of cards I sent you. I didn't realize the book wasn't in the box. So I'm sending you the book. I was like, yay. It came in yesterday. So that like made my day. I was like, now I can start using these cards because they didn't make any sense without the guidebook. It was like, I don't know what I'm looking at here. Um,
People
but
are remarkably kind and remarkably generous. I'm really
yeah,
struck by that. That for all the dark, disturbing things that go on in the world on an individual
Yeah.
level, people are wonderful.
yeah, absolutely. It blows my mind every day.
Yeah.
Some of the messages I get or emails
Yeah.
I'll get or little gifts that show up in the mail or something.
Yeah.
It's like God, that just makes my whole day. Just if somebody will message you or something in the comments and say,
Yeah.
"I caught your show with so and so the other day, and when you said whatever, really, really resonated with me, and I just wanted to let you know." And it's like, thank you. I mean, and I wasn't even reading for that person, but evidently the message was meant for them as well. And it just really makes you feel good when somebody tells you, that something you did made them feel better.
Does.
So that's my goal is to try to help people. So um, things are nice, but it's not necessary. And my main concern is, am I able to help you in some kind of way?
Yeah.
Which I may
Knowing
tell.
that you make any kind of a difference. I'm too old to be out there physically, protesting or whatever. And
I
oddly,
did
we're
that crap
still,
when I was a kid with my mother when she did all the protesting.
yeah,
Equal
yeah,
rights, civil rights, women's rights. It's like,
yeah.
I don't want to do this again. I already did it once.
Well, we're still quarantining for my husband or for health, and so
Yeah.
limits what you can do physically to try to make a difference. It's really heartwarming and encouraging to know that even if it's just one person feels a little bit better for 1 second, that's that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. All right, ladies, we are at 53 minutes. Jackie, I know
Already?
you have a hard stop. I know, time just flies.
I have to go now because
I
we're
have
going out in half an
2
hour.
questions left to do. Um, Morgan the Void and then Connie B.
Well, I'm here all day. I have no
Okay,
idea.
so if Jackie has to bug out on us before we
You
get to
can't.
the second question, then you
I
can
have
get
to.
with her later and tell her, okay, send me the answer.
I was
We have
I
to
was
do it
telling
again, Jackie.
I was telling Sherry we're going to a gig. It was supposed to be um a gig for a 30th birthday. Now I don't know the guy whose birthday it was, but he actually dropped dead 2 or 3 months ago of a heart attack chasing kids from his store. Yeah.
30?
He was 29 like when he died. Hey Maya. My friend Maya's here.
Oh my
Um
Hi,
God.
Maya.
but yeah, the gig is still going ahead, but it's a fundraiser for a charity that he was mad about instead. So we're going to go up and give some
Oh,
money and
that's terrible. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Was he a close friend?
No, I didn't know the boy at all, but I know a lot of his family. I know a lot of people who were related to him, you know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So we said we'd go up and make our donation and hang out at the gig for an hour and go home to bed.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's good of you to do that. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you go hang in the gig, you
Very
get to
sad.
listen to music, you get to dance.
These 12 and 13-year-old boys were harassing his family for a long time, kicking his door and throwing rocks at his windows and everything. And he chased them and he dropped dead of a heart attack. Poor boy.
Oh, bless his
Oh, my
heart. Oh
God.
wow.
And nothing
my
was done, of
God.
course, with the boys as usual. So
Well, you know, Jackie, Sherry and I will hold down the fort for you until you get back. You know?
you'll be fine.
Yeah. You and
If we're still here, yeah, you just jump back on.
But Jesus, he'll hardly still be
Because
here.
Helen and I can sit here and talk all day. So, you know.
Mine, let the girls know. Let the girls know there if you want a reading. They're going to continue doing readings because I'm on the way out now in half an hour. So I have to love and leave you all. So, girls, thanks a million. It's been great fun. Thanks everyone
Thank
for
you
watching.
so much for coming, Jackie. Please
Slán
come back
Paul.
again.
Jackie.
They're mahagut.
Jeremiah.
They're not.
Bye.
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 She's speaking, she's speaking that strange Irish language there.
I know sometimes she talks and I'm like, what did she say? It takes me a minute for my ear to get used to it. I
She
used to be a
sounds like
lot
any
worse
number
at
of my
trying to,
relatives. Pardon me?
I said I used to be a lot worse at trying to understand people with accents. And then since I started working at the university, now I have such a diverse amount of different accents that I listen to. It's like
Open the
my
world
ear
to you.
kind of opens up to it a little bit more.
That's great. It's great.
But yeah, I was just happy she was able to come on for a little while. And
when I was a child, we emigrated to the United States, and I guess I had an accent. My parents always did. They never lost theirs. But what we don't think about too much here in the United States is that even in English speaking countries, they have different words that they use.
Yeah.
The best example in England, a truck is a lorry. So that's what I mean by different words, right?
Yeah.
So
a driveway is the street,
school,
and the street is the driveway. It is like
right.
Yeah.
I started school. I spoke like a foreigner, but children they hone in on that. So I learned very quickly to adapt to the American lingo, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've lived in the South all my life, so there's a lot of immigrants that come in from south of the border or from Cuba and that area, and so you get a lot of where the parents or the grandparents never really learn the language, maybe just enough to go to the bank or something, but they never really learn the language, and they're just not
it's
able
hard
to.
when you're an adult.
It is. It's a lot harder.
And what a lot of people are not aware of in this country is that it's extremely difficult to find English as a second language for adults classes. If you can find them at all, they're always full, or they cost too much money because you're an immigrant and you don't have the money, and it's not always people don't want to learn English, is they just don't have the opportunity. And there's a certain element of suspicion on the part of native born English speaking Americans towards somebody who doesn't speak English at all. And so, people know that. Immigrants know that. They sense that wall, pardon the pun. And so it's difficult for an adult, much easier for a child. You go to school.
Yeah, children pick it right up. Yeah. I know when I lived in Arizona, one of my coworkers, when he and his wife had their first child, a little girl, and I told him then, I said, speak both languages to her. Speak your Spanish and speak English.
Yes.
Do everything, say everything twice in both languages so that she's fluent in both. I said, and then when she's an adult, she'll thank you for it because it'll be easier for her to learn other languages if she decides she wants to.
Yeah.
And they did. And boy, she's like a teenager now, and she's
It's fabulous.
fluent in either language. But now her brother that came about a year and a half after her, they didn't really emphasize it with him that much. I guess they
They
just
were
didn't think
tired.
about it. They were tired from the first one.
Yeah.
He doesn't speak any Spanish at all.
Oh, that's
A
unfortunate.
couple of words, you know, and
Yeah.
that's it. And no, just
My parents were fluent in Irish, but they were not particularly patient teachers. You know, they tried, they'd make a few stabs at teaching us, and then they'd lose patience. And it's a very difficult language to pronounce if you're not around it all the time.
yeah.
And so they used it as their default language when they didn't want us to know something.
Well,
And
see,
I
and I
really
grew up with
regret that.
Cajun
I
French,
tried.
which, you know,
Pardon?
you have Cajun French down here, which is different from the French in France. It's different from the French in Canada.
Yeah.
Um,
Dialect.
it's another form.
Dialect.
Nothing's funnier than one of our festivals. We have a festival of Acadians International. And we have groups and people from all around the world that come here to my city. They have a huge week-long festival, especially different music groups. And it's funny to have a Canadian, a Frenchman, and a Cajun all trying to have a conversation
Yeah.
because they're all speaking French and they don't know what the hell the other one's saying. You know,
Yeah.
it's hilarious. I know when my mother was a little girl, they had pretty much outlawed speaking Cajun French here in Louisiana.
Why?
It, I really don't know. She never understood why. I think it was just part of the culture at the time of erasing that language. You only speak English. Don't speak that other language.
Class distinction type of thing.
Class
Yeah.
distinction, yes.
Yeah.
But because Cajun and Zydeco music are so prevalent and popular,
Yeah.
they can never kill the language because you have to sing those in Cajun French.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess you don't have to, but the song doesn't make sense if you sing it in English. It's backwards. And so it wasn't until I guess my son started school. Now, this is from when my mother was a child to when my son was a child going to school, where they have French immersion classes now, where you can sign up if you want to, and that's all you learn. You learn everything in French.
It's great.
And then you learn English after. So he did, I think, half a semester or half a year, school year, doing the French thing, and then he was like, I don't want to do that anymore. So
what's so good, it's so good for your brain because it uses brain cells, it creates pathways that if you keep it up, you can pick up other languages more easily. You're better at math and at music. There's something about that part of the brain.
Yeah,
so it's very,
exactly.
very
It's
valuable. Yeah.
When I was a child, I mean, most of my relatives on one side of the family, they all spoke French first, English second.
Sacre bleu.
Yeah, you know, and well, Cajun French, which there's some words there that don't go in the French. So but so when I was a little girl, I understood a lot of it. I knew a few words, but I wasn't fluent in speaking it. But I could understand what my cousins and stuff would be saying, or what my aunts and uncles would be saying. I could follow the conversation because there was enough English sprinkled in there for words that didn't translate, you know, that you could kind of follow along. But then I was away for so long that I lost it. And I keep saying that I know
that's too bad.
The university offers what they call lanyard classes.
Yeah.
And it's maybe a 5 to 6 week class you
should
take.
do it.
It'll I'm going to take a class and relearn.
It'll come back to you. It's shocking because that stuff is all in the same part of the brain.
Oh yeah.
I had an old neighbor who grew up on a farm at the turn of the last century in North Dakota. And when they moved here, she had married a young man. They went to school together in this small 1 or 2 room schoolhouse. And there were, I don't know, 20 students, and probably 11 or 12 of them were him, his brothers and sisters and cousins, and they were from Germany, and they all spoke German, and they used to get in trouble for speaking German. The teacher would get mad at them, and he understood German, but of course, they moved to where we live now, and their children never learned German.
Yeah.
That's one of the beauties of this country that I don't think we appreciate enough, is the diversity of background and culture and language and food and music. I mean, it's wonderful. It's so diverse. And
Oh yeah, my brother and his son, my brother and my nephew, they live with us. They went to the Renaissance Fair today, which is this weekend. Because last night he was asking me if I had this, if I had that. And he was working on stuff in the dining room. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He says, "I'm upgrading my costume."
The Renaissance Fair.
Yeah. And
that's
so
the Middle Ages, actually.
I think it was last year when they went. And part of his costume, he was playing he went as like a barbarian or something. And he
that was
actually
easy, right?
went and shaved his head,
Oh my
took off
God.
all his hair, painted his skin like the different colors that they would use back in the day.
Blue and white, yeah.
And I was like,
do we have any more questions?
We have 2 questions left.
Okay. Let's
do them
see. Before we run out of time.
Next up was Morgan the Void. Aura reading. Oh, that's cool.
Don't look at my aura.
Oh, I would love to have my aura read.
I would too, yeah.
That would be so cool.
That's very cool.
I had somebody, when I lived in Arizona, there was a spiritual shop you could go to, and they had a photographer that you could go in and pay for aura photographs.
Morgan the Void, I'll make you a deal. My email is on my channel. Get in touch with me. You can read my aura. I'll read your cards.
There you go.
Fun.
That's double for me. So just give us
you
a
want to know
shout.
about the business itself.
Yeah, I know somebody had told me once about how to try to focus in and do it. And I spent months trying to do it to no avail. It got to where I could look at a plant, and if I concentrated right, I could actually see the faint outline of the plant around the plant, which was weird.
They have energy.
But that's but that's as far as I ever got with it. So if you're ready, go ahead.
Yeah, I am. Okay, this is interesting. So the Two of Wands reversed. I think that you are perhaps lacking a little bit in your confidence in your ability to do this, and that is the World reverse. That's sort of a disappointment for you, because it's been more of maybe an effort to either actually read the auras or to find customers to read the auras. I can't tell. So you've been sort of stuck. The Knight of Swords, you've sort of been unfocused, lacking in focus because of this sense of a little bit of, I don't know, disappointment or self-defeatism or uncertainty about either your ability or the direction. So let go of the doubts. The Devil reverse. Let go of the doubts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry about the money part. Focus on the doing and the sensing of it. Let go of all the other concerns. And if you can do that, you're going to move forward successfully.
And I pulled nothing but Pentacles for you.
But there you go.
First the 10 of Pentacles and then the Page of Pentacles.
It's an opportunity.
Yeah, this is an opportunity. There's an opportunity there to make some money and build a good business at it. It just requires hard work.
And don't doubt.
Take a business class if it would help to just know how to run a small business on your own. I know for some of us, as we've started doing this and have slowly kind of started going over into making it a business, there's a lot of people have no clue what to do or how to do it. I know I was
Hi.
talking to one of my professors not that long ago, and he was asking me questions about, the channel and what I did, and did I charge money and this and that and the other, and I was just kind of explaining, what I was doing. He's like, well, you need to create an LLC and do da 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 and make it a business. And I'm like, well, I don't know how to do that. I said, I don't know if I'm ready for that yet. He says, just keep doing what you're doing. And when you feel like you're getting to that point, he says, come see me. I'll give you a free consultation and walk you through it. So I was like, yeah.
Oh, well, then after that, we need to I don't have a clue.
I'll have to put him on my channel and say, okay, tell everybody how to do this.
Yeah.
But this is good. I mean, this is really good. So I think
you have the potential to really make a success of it. Don't let your doubts or fears or sense of frustration hold you back. Oh, well, we can work on that.
Oh, absolutely.
I would be happy to invite you on my channel, and we'll talk about it and just get your name out there. I'd love to do
My
that.
email is in the description box below. Links to Helen's channel is in the description box below. Just click on it and go there. Click on the About tab, and it'll take you to the page where we tell you who we are and why we are and when, where, and how we are. And
Sisterhood.
Sisterhood,
right, Jerry?
Absolutely. And I thoroughly believe in us supporting each other and helping each other.
Yeah.
I love to just spend a day of just kind of like channel surfing on YouTube and checking out people that I've never listened to before.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's amazing the people I've run across, and it's like, I'll go watch them. And if something clicks, then I'm sending off an email. Would you be interested in doing a collaboration? And I've had quite a few people that responded, oh yeah, I would love that. Because they're just starting. They don't know what to do. So I love,
let me know, because I've gotten to the point where I don't have a lot of free time. I used to, during the lockdown, I used to watch tarot readers and psychics by the hour. It was great, distraction, and I learned a lot. But I all these people that I love to watch, and I don't have the time anymore. It's so frustrating. Yeah. So you could be my front woman.
There we go. I'm already a foreign correspondent, so that just next level,
Yeah. So who's the other?
We have one person left, and that is Miss Connie. And she just turned 60 on Wednesday. And which of my guides advise me going forward? Happy birthday to you.
I don't know about your guides, but let me tell you something about getting older as a woman. It's liberating.
It is.
Yeah.
It really is. I do and say things now that I never would have gotten away with 20 years ago. So.
You don't give two you-know-whats.
And people look at my white hair and they're like, okay, yes, she can say that.
What do your guides advise you?
Yeah. Morgan the Boy, put your channel link in the chat, and that way people can go and check out your channel. I didn't even realize you had a channel, but I like Connie B's suggestion of a name for Morgan the Boy. I am liberated, bitches beware. That's
okay,
great.
I'll go because you're still shuffling. Okay, so this is a moment of reevaluation, a time for you to, which is what you're doing right now, step back from the noise and decide the direction you want to go in. You may need to focus and let go of some things and focus on I'm sorry, I always forget to say what we're looking at, the 8 of Cups. This was the 4 of Swords reversed. So time to take a pause, time to reevaluate and maybe decide what serves you what doesn't serve you. And in conjunction with that, the Page of Wands reversed is about, before you take action, figure out how to redirect your energy, decide what bores you, what excites you, what you're truly interested in, and what you're doing out of obligation. And I get the impression that you've been working on something, the Three of Pentacles here reversed, working on something that maybe you're just lost interest in, but you feel obligated to keep at it. You need fresh ideas, the Page of Cups. So this is a period of reevaluating and taking action and trying to decide what to do based on what speaks to your heart. That's the message.
There you go. Well, I pulled acceptance, loving what is. So, this is stuff that you really, really, really want to do.
Yeah.
Then, you just have to accept it as, yeah, this is the direction I want to go in. And then I pulled success, honor your gifts. So whatever it is that you're wanting to do it, accepted it, that's something maybe nobody else around you think that would be worth your time a day, but if it really lights you up, go for it and do it.
Right. That Page of
Cups.
That's
your passion.
Yeah.
And if you honor your gifts and you follow your passion, you have success. And success comes in a lot of different forms. It doesn't necessarily have to be monetarily, although that can certainly occur from it. But
yeah, take some time for yourself. Yeah. Look at what's going on in your life. Decide what you're doing because you feel obligated and it doesn't really thrill you or reward you or nurture you anymore. And let go of the things that are in that category. And in your reevaluation of yourself, find the things that you love to do, the things that give you happiness and fulfill you. Yeah. And don't worry about coulda, shoulda, woulda. Think about the opportunities moving forward and do some stuff for yourself. You get the impression, that you're doing a lot of things because you have to, responsibility, obligation. Maybe it's okay to be a little bit more.
She's a teacher, she says.
Oh, well, there you go.
She's a teacher, and she does feel obligated to stay in her classrooms. And being a teacher is hard. My brother's a teacher, and he's a really good teacher. But it's his passion. That's why he's so good at it.
Couldn't pay me enough. Of course, I'm talking little kids. Couldn't pay me enough. What grade?
You couldn't pay me enough. I don't care what age the students would be.
What grade does she
I'm
teach?
not a teacher. I'm just not. That's not where my passion lies. I mean, if I learn something, I'm excited about it, then I'm willing to share it and teach it to those around me who express an interest. But I'm not going to go teach at a school somewhere. That's just not me.
I think it would be different if you're teaching on a level where everybody there has chosen to be there and wants to learn it. 7th grade. Oh, English. Now that's appealing. Yeah.
You're talking to two avid readers here. So readers of books, not readers of cards. But the cards and stuff are new for me. I just picked this up. Oh, right after the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And that's when I found this community of amazing people. And then next thing I knew, somebody sent me a deck of cards and was like, you're a reader. You need to learn the cards. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. I was like, no, I'm not. And they're like, yeah, you are. I'm sending you cards. And she sent me 2 tarot decks. And it's weird because the minute I picked them up and held them in my hand,
you felt it. Yeah.
It was like something just snapped for me.
Connie, I feel like there's so many changes in academics right now and how schools are kind of walking on eggshells and parental expectations seem to be very different. Now I'm showing my age. It used to be in a classroom, the teacher was in charge, and the teacher had a lot of leeway to tolerate or not tolerate behavior. I get the impression that you don't really have a lot of autonomy over that anymore. I would think that must be very frustrating, and
It is.
it gets in the way of this passion you have for learning and imparting your love for it on kids. You're dealing with kids that maybe don't have the same level of expectation of respectful behavior or engagement or paying attention. So maybe it's time to step back a second, not quit teaching, but step back a bit and reevaluate, what you're willing to put up with and that kind of thing.
She's written a book, and she's going to get it published.
Oh.
Well, girlfriend, once you get it published, let us know. We will help you spread the word.
Who are the Ghosts of Red Sands? Who is this? What's it about?
Yeah, I mean, give us a quick synopsis. What are we going to read? You're talking to two avid readers here that Helen and I post online. Go get the book, Yeah, that's corrective action is a lot different than it used to be now.
Yeah,
especially dealing with special ed kids.
So frustrating.
And it's I know I hear my brother say this all the time. The support from administration is just not there.
No.
Like it used to be, if you even have administrators in the school. That's one of the positions they keep cutting back on a lot of public schools to where
the inmates are running the asylum, huh?
Yeah, I mean, you've got a teacher that's trying to teach. They're having to run, having to police their students in their classrooms and the hallways and this, that, and the other. They give up their lunch breaks to go do Hope. There you go.
The Star. You keep doing that with the book, whatever it is you're doing.
Oh yeah.
And Strength. That's very positive.
Very much so. Very much so. Because I know
if it's not fiction and the topic would be appropriate, I would be willing to synopsize it on my channel when I do my Saturday books. I don't do fiction. It's too hard. Yeah.
Well, and to me, I look at fiction as that's all in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah. Yeah.
Different people like different kinds of stories.
Yeah.
But if you're writing about something that's factual or based on factual events, then that's different, because in a way you're teaching what it is you've learned or what it is
Sounds historical. Did she tell you what the topic is?
Historical realistic fiction is how
fiction. Darn.
So, but still, let us know when you get it published.
Yeah.
I'll probably read it.
Yeah.
And if Helen doesn't cover it on her channel, I'll cover it on mine.
I don't know when to shut up when it comes to fiction. I just might as well read the whole book out loud. I can interview.
Says you can do an interview. There you go.
Is it Native American? Is that the impression I'm getting? Or is it about nuclear testing? What's the red sand part?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I'm all for the Ghost of Red Sands. Yeah, I get the feeling that sounds like it's about. Oh, here we go. Native American dormitory life. Oh, yeah.
Oh, now that would be a topic I'd be very interested in. We wouldn't necessarily synopsize the book, but that's a topic you could dig your teeth into. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm part Native American too, so I'm part everything. My mother used to laugh, say we were smorgasbords. I mean, because I'm Welsh, Scots, Irish, Dutch, French, English, and Cherokee. So I've got a little bit of everything in me.
Well, it speaks to the diversity of this country. I think that's really interesting,
The family line was all blue-eyed blondes till the Cherokee got there, and then suddenly we had brunettes.
I think this is a
That's what one of my
fascinating
aunts
topic,
always said. So
unless you're Native American or you're African American. This is a great topic and a positive thing, and the diversity is wonderful. But then we get cross the line into the mistreatment of certain populations to the
yeah,
point of genocide and enslavement, and that's a whole other story. So I always like to acknowledge when I'm talking about how great the diversity is, yeah, but the
yeah.
getting there was kind of
If you're the right
problematic,
skin
right?
tone, you've got a lot of diversity. But if you're African American, Native American, Asian American, you're gonna. There's no way that you can blend in to society as a whole because you look different. Your skin color is different, your hair is different, your features are different because that's what's native to your race, but
Yeah,
and so it's
I would
very
say,
easy to pick someone out like that and make them the other.
yeah, and I would say
Yeah,
that it's basically the history of the human race is collective trauma, because setting aside what people look like and where they come from, there is nobody alive that doesn't have in their background past trauma. It's to continue that trauma the way that we are
right.
at the moment is just reprehensible. But every single person in this country has some genealogical connection, DNA connection to horrible genocidal
Depending
trauma.
on
People
which
are,
leg you look at on the tree of my family,
yeah,
we've got one extension that goes off there that were plantation owners, slave owners that did horrific things, and that's in my blood. I mean, I'm part of that line, but
how do you
I
feel about that?
I would, and when I found out, it really bothered me.
Yeah, yeah,
It really upset me because it was like I didn't want to be associated with that, and my mom was the one that said that was, 3 generations back. It's, just
still,
and sometimes I think that's why she was so rebellious as far as equality for everybody.
yeah, yeah,
Because she was, oh yeah, she was the black sheep of the family because she was like she didn't tolerate any of that crap, So and I don't know if a lot of the family members ostracized her because they just believed so differently than she
yeah,
did,
yeah.
or if it was because they felt they couldn't be as open and free about it as she was.
Well, in science now they believe that you can get trauma passed down genetically.
Oh yeah,
And if you can have that passed down genetically, why not other experiences too? We carry the legacy of our forebears in
yeah,
our actual DNA. But to acknowledge that and to try to be better moving forward, that's the
exactly.
challenge, right? That's why we're here. We're here to correct, the sins of the fathers. People want to reject the notion that that matters. I believe it
But
matters.
it
I
does
feel
matter
we have an
because
obligation.
when it comes to the sins of the father, and then when you're looking at the offspring, whether if it's immediate their child or several generations down, you still have people that have grown up being taught a certain mindset
Yeah, that's right.
that reinforces the genetic code that you were born with, you know. And so I mean, as someone who's grown up in the South, I grew up in the 60s in the deep South, in the middle of the civil rights movement, all
So
that
you
kind of
remember the
stuff.
whole hoo-ha with George
I
Wallace
remember
on.
when there were signs over bathroom doors that said colored or white, or
Jeez.
when there were signs on water fountains that said colored and white, or um,
Well, take
if
it
you
back.
weren't
Take
a
it back.
white person, you couldn't go into that store and
That's
shop
right. Or you
except on
couldn't stay
certain
in a
days.
motel if you were African American. But take it back 100 years, and there were signs hanging in downtown Manhattan: no
No
dogs, no
Irish.
Irish; no
Yeah,
dogs, no Germans; no
yeah,
dogs, no Italians. So we pick the other course, we've been pretty consistent with Native Americans and Black people. We've been very consistent
And
about,
I think that's because they're easier to pick out of the crowd.
or
They
we're
don't
so
blend.
genetically damaged. The terrible prejudices that we carry in our blood are so hard to
Exactly.
get
I
rid
mean,
of. It's terrible.
um,
But that's our job, you know. That's why
I
we're here.
agree. Yeah, I mean, it's there's a lot of horrific things that that all of our ancestors in this country have done to get to this point where we are now. And now we're watching it go over the top and it's sliding back downhill to where we came from. And it's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be there. I don't want to go there. I don't want my children or anything to be involved in that.
So we have an obligation, and those of us who don't want to see a backsliding, those of us who want to do a whole lot more moving forward because we were not nearly where we should be. It's our
Especially for those of
obligation.
us that grew up in the middle of all of it and
Yeah, it's our
firsthand
obligation,
knowledge.
if we
Yeah.
see it, to speak up and to advocate. It's our job to advocate for the vulnerable. And by vulnerable, I don't mean inherently weak, but the people that are picked on. It's
Yep.
our job to speak up against the bullies
Yeah.
and the cowards.
My mother, I mean, she got away with a lot of what she got away with because she was a white woman. But she was a single woman raising 2 kids by herself in the 60s. That was unheard of, you know.
Yeah. They fired my first grade teacher when she got divorced.
Yeah. I mean, my grandfather, her stepfather, had to sign the paperwork off for her to have her own bank account or to buy a house.
Insane.
You know, in the 70s. You know, and it's like I had forgotten about that until people started talking about it again. And it was like,
well, if the Speaker of the House has his way, we won't even be able to buy condoms.
yeah.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
It's scary. I think he's a Trojan horse. I think, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
They got him in under the radar, and he looks like Harry Potter, but oh no, he's really scary.
There, I tell you, the talk about him down here is
oh, he's
really
Louisianan. I forgot. That's right. I'm sorry. What did they say
he's from the
about
Baton Rouge area. That's his jurisdiction is over by the state capitol in Baton Rouge. So fortunately, he's not a direct representative of where I am. I have another asshole. I have Clay Higgins. I have Clay Higgins that I have to deal with.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's my state rep is Clay Higgins. It's like, oh my God, really?
I won't tell anybody.
I've tried for years to get that man unelected, but it hasn't worked yet.
Oh my God, it gets worse and worse.
And a lot of it, I mean, especially down here in this area, a lot of all this stuff is so wrapped up in the religion of down here, whether if it's Catholic or Protestant.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you've got the blurring of lines.
Oh, you ain't seen nothing yet. They want
I
to
went
make
to
it.
Catholic
They
school
want to
for a
make
while.
it federal law. All that nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really frightening. He
Very
said
much
the other
so.
day that people just misunderstand what it means, separation of church and state. It's not about keeping religion out of politics. We just misunderstand. This is what Mike Johnson said.
Yeah, I know. That's what's so terrifying. Is they look normal, they talk normal, they act normal publicly.
Yeah.
But if you get into who that person is and what they believe, it's terrifying. His wife is worse than he is.
Yes, and they're into dominionism. You know that part in the Old Testament, God made Adam dominion over that whole thing. They're very much, they take that absolutely literally, that the white male moneymaker should run everything. Yeah.
Exactly.
She talks like Mrs. Duggar. She has that little baby voice.
Yeah, the
like the
little girl thing.
Duggars, because they
Yeah,
follow that same weird belief system.
yeah.
No judgment, allegedly. Entertainment purposes only. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Yeah, well, they'd have a hard time picking you out of the mouthful of stuff I've said over the past couple of years. Because that crap, I mean, I was in that cult for a while. You kind of get sucked in to that
What?
Protestant,
Tell me
not the
more about that. What
Dominionism,
cult?
but just the religion part of, just like the Southern Baptist Association.
Okay, okay, okay.
Granted, we weren't that bad. We would look at people like them and go, they're nuts.
They are now. The Southern
They
Baptist
they
Convention's
they,
gone off the
they
rails.
aren't that different when you step back and look as a whole, you know.
Yeah.
It's like I there are times when I stop and think, where the hell was my brain and how did they get me sucked in for 10 years? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, and then when I kind of woke up and said, whoa, wait a minute, and started backing out, you know, it's amazing the
Well, you
vitriol
know, Jimmy
that will come
Carter
out of people.
quit. Jimmy Carter quit the Southern Baptist Convention because of their take on women. And
Yeah.
he was a real champion for women. He and his wife, you know, rest her soul, were really equals. And
I remember when he was in office. Yeah.
he had a strong sister and he had a strong mother and he had great respect in him. Well, he's still alive. He has great respect for women. And when the Southern Baptist Convention started really coming down on women worse than ever, he bailed out of that.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when he was president, it was a point of pride for a lot of Southerners because especially in the deep South, it's not uncommon for the women to be the strongest one in the household. You know, it's like you
As
didn't
it
back
should be.
you don't go against what mama says, what Mima says, what auntie says. That's the law, you know, and so it's very dual-sided almost because you have all of these Southern families where mama is the boss and daddy does what mama says. And mama says, we're not doing that. And daddy's like, okay, no, we're not doing that. You know, it's very female centric, female dominated households. I mean, that's how I grew up, you know, across the board. Didn't matter what race you were, what belief you had. Mama was boss.
It was a Southern
Period.
thing.
Full
Yeah.
stop. It's a Southern
Yeah.
thing. Although to go out into public, you would think it was the opposite because it was the men who did all the posturing and ran the companies and ran for office and did all this, that, and the other. While mama came off as Miss Demure and quiet and holier than thou type of thing. But you get home money, she cracking that whip and everybody knew it. That's just the way it was. And I think I don't know where the split happened that all of these people started believing the more extreme of this nonsense.
Well, I
know?
do know where the split happened, and it was long before Reagan. It was in the Powell memo. He was the guy who eventually became a Supreme Court justice, but he got together with the Chamber of Commerce, and we're talking patriarchal, theocratic capitalists, and they saw the 60s, late 50s, early 60s starting to become a threat to their hold on power. And they made a long-term agenda of how they were going to take back power and never let it go. And you know, we could talk for hours about it, but essentially the men in charge, the white men in charge, felt like they were losing control. So they very quietly, through law schools and the courts and brainwashing people from the pulpit, took control. And
absolutely.
It's the last gasp of the patriarchy. Bon voyage.
It's just not dying fast enough as far as I'm concerned.
I agree. I agree.
You know, I look back and I know I've said it to a few gentlemen over the years. I'm like, okay, well, y'all have been in charge all this time, and look where we're at. Maybe it's time for y'all to go sit at home barefoot and pregnant. Granted, can't be pregnant, but
I
barefoot
covered a
and taking
book.
care of the kids and let us run the world.
I covered a book. It's been almost a year, I think, called The Dawn of Everything. And it's a huge book. Looks intimidating. It's a fascinating book. And it kind of talks about anthropology and history and sexual politics, but it goes back way far, you know, into the dark ages, way, not the medieval dark ages before written language, you know, way back.
Yeah.
And it traces through anthropology, through sociology, through a lot of different mainstream disciplines. It traces the movement of peoples and the changes in power. And the reality is, the history of humanity has been a struggle from the very beginning between matriarchies and patriarchies. And there have been times over and over when there has been equality. And there have been matriarchies where women ran everything and there was peace. And it sounds like a generalization, but they show through archaeological and historical stuff, whenever there's a matriarchy, the focus is on cultivation, agriculture, nurturing, equality. But then you'd get these hunter-gatherer, patriarchal, male-dominated societies who'd come in, take over, slaughter everybody, and put all the men in charge. And the cycle would begin again. And this cycle has repeated throughout human history. But if you want to find out what makes peace, you put the moms in charge.
Yeah.
Exactly. I keep
Exactly.
saying they should send 5 mothers to Washington, D.C. as long as Katie Porter
Gets to be one. Yes. You froze, Helen. Or maybe I froze to you. I don't know.
Something happened.
Yeah, you froze, but you're back. Okay.
Did you hear my dissertation on sending 5 women to Washington,
That's
D.C.?
as far as it got, sending 5 women.
Send Katie Porter with them, and they'll whip them into shape in a week.
Oh, especially with Katie Porter in there.
Love her.
I love her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Her and her whiteboard. It's like if I had the means, I would give her an unending supply of whiteboards and markers.
Did you see the video she made where she was out in her parking in her driveway, and she had her car, the trunk of her car full of, I don't even remember what was in there, but she was making a point to some CEO of some big company, and just the visuals, you know, she uses grade school level visual aids, and she had a trunk full of, I don't know if it was bags of rice or what it was, but she's hilarious because she acts all serious about it, you know, and she pretends that she doesn't recognize the wit behind the whole thing, and it's so effective.
And I love the fact that her mentor and teacher was Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, isn't that interesting?
And that's who she studied under law school.
Oh,
Elizabeth Warren was her professor.
Isn't that interesting?
And then became her mentor. You know, it's like, yeah, it's
we need
it
more of
shows
that.
you the next generation. So
yeah,
you know, and
that doesn't mean that every woman in politics is of that caliber. Be very careful about Nikki Haley.
Oh yeah, she's dangerous.
She's a fascist in feminine clothing. We need to be
it's
really
like
careful.
It's like Mrs. Johnson down here. I mean, you know, she may come across as little Miss Meek and soft, you know, baby voice, and that just drives me nuts when I hear women talk like that.
Like
It's
Mrs. Duggar. You know the
God.
Duggars, right? The Duggar
Yeah.
family.
Oh yeah.
Mrs. Duggar, Michelle. Hi, I'm Michelle. Butter wouldn't melt my mouth.
Yeah.
It's too much. That's too much.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So it's just there's changes that need to be that need to happen. They just not
Well, you
happen.
and I have to get together. I have to go, Sherry, but you and I have to get together again sometime soon and just go over all these nefarious political mamby-pamby
Absolutely.
theocrats.
I could talk for hours on that stuff.
Oh, I have.
And I know you can too. So, you know.
No shortage of opinions here.
That's it. Free opinions.
This was such a
Register
good
within.
idea. This was so much fun to get together with Jackie.
I know. I love to listen to her talk.
Well, she sounds like my cousins. I got cousins in Cork.
I think I have a couple of cousins that still have a brogue. Just because it was more prevalent in their household growing up.
Yeah.
You know, than it was in ours. And
my husband accuses me of saying things wrong, you know, because I've got some words that I mispronounce. What do you call those vinyl discs that you play music on?
it's a record.
Yeah, I call it a record. It drives him insane. He loses it. I can't help it. It's just that's, you know.
Yeah. No, there are certain words I'm sure that I say that sound fun. When I lived in Arizona, people would look at me sometimes and say, "Oh, what?"
You know that foreign country of Arizona.
Yeah.
I have to go.
I know. Thank you so much for coming, Helen, and being and hanging out. We're definitely going to have to get together soon again.
I feel
thank
honored
y'all in
to
the
be
chat
asked.
for coming and hanging out with us today. A big thank you to Jackie for giving up her evening because it was nighttime where she was at. So, and
well, I'm honored to be asked. And anytime you have something you want to chat about, let me know.
You're
We'll get
welcome.
on my channel too.
Anytime. You're welcome to come on.
Thank you.
So I just adore you. So, and I love your
I
love your sense of humor. It's very much like mine, I think. Like-minded people stick together.
That's right.
So y'all have a great day. Happy belated Thanksgiving. And go out and have a great week. Get ready for Christmas. Santa's coming.
As they say in my country, slungafoil.
Yep, there you go. Or oh crap, I'm not gonna be able to say it now. Bienvenue.
Bienvenue.
Bienvenue à toi. Bienvenue à toi. God bless and goodbye or something like that.
Yeah, to everybody. Yeah.
Way to say it because I'm not. My mouth doesn't want to go around those vowels that way.
What we should say to each other. A bientôt. We'll see each other later.
There we go. Yep. Bye, everybody. Thank y'all for coming.